Hello friends, welcome back to the lecture series on photochemistry. This will be third lecture in a row. In today's talk, we will try to cover the laws of photochemistry. Let us have a revise look at what we studied so far. In the first talk, we have seen what photochemistry is, what are photochemical reaction. And we have also tried to cover what is the difference between the thermal and the photochemical reaction. In addition to these, in the second lecture, we have seen the laws of absorption of light, particularly Lambert's law and the Beer's law, where we talk about what is the relationship between the concentration and the intensity, decrease in the intensity. In today's talk, we will try to cover yet another important topic of the photochemistry, which is very equally important in understanding the concepts of photochemistry, and that is the laws of photochemistry. There are two laws of photochemistry. One of them is Grotthuss-Draper law, and the second one is Stark-Einstein law. We will try to cover these two laws, and uh, as mentioned earlier, the photochemistry refers to the reaction caused by the absorption of light. Now, we need to quantify how much light, when absorbed by the reacting substance, will lead to how much product, and that can be done with the help of these two laws. So, the first law of photochemistry is Grotthuss-Draper law, which is also called as law of photochemical activation. Keep this keyword activation in your mind. This is very important. This law is also known as first law of photochemistry. Now let us imagine that you have some reacting substance with you, and when you irradiate with a light of suitable intensity I0, what happens? Some part of it is reflected, some part of it is transmitted, and some part of it is absorbed by the reacting substance. If you look at the historical background, in the year 1817, Theodor von Graetz recognized that in order for the light to be effective in producing the chemical change, it had to be absorbed. Or in other words, the it is the portion of the light which is being absorbed by the reacting substance will only result in the uh, will only result in the will only result in the photochemical change. In 1841, John William Draper, he studied the first recognized photochemical reaction, and that was between the hydrogen and the moist hydrogen and the chlorine gas. And this was supposed to be the first recognized photochemical reaction. After reaction, what was the important observation he made? After initiation of the reaction, the rate of the reaction was found to be proportional to the intensity of the light absorbed. It means that if you increase the intensity, the rate of reaction will increase. If you decrease the intensity, the rate of reaction would decrease. These are the two important observations that has led to the first law of photochemistry, and hence the name of the law is Grotthuss and Draper, because these are the two important findings that has led to the first law of photochemistry. So from the examination viewpoint, what you need to keep in mind: when a light falls on a body, it is some part of it is reflected, a part of it is transmitted as mentioned in this diagram, and the remaining is absorbed, and it is only the absorbed light which is effective in bringing about the chemical reaction. We can also define it in other sense that only that light which is absorbed by the system can bring about a photochemical change or photochemical reaction. This law is referred as law of photochemical activation because absorbed light leads to the activation of the reactant molecule. Now let us move to the second law, and before moving to the second law, let us have a look at the quantitative aspects of the photochemical reaction. Now we all know that with the advent of the quantum theory, due to the Max Planck in the year 1900, and which is being supported by Albert Einstein in the year 1905 with his photoelectric effect, and others like Compton, uh, the light is supposed to be consisting of discrete bundles of energy. We call them as quantum or photon. So photochemical reactions, essentially we know that they occurs because of the absorption of the UV or visible light. And why UV and visible light? The UV and visible light, it is in the range of 200 to 800 nanometer, and the corresponding energy for this is 36 to 286 kilocalorie per mole, which falls in the range of the bond energies of the reactant molecule. And in order for a reaction to occur, what is needed? We need to have the breaking and the making of the bond, and that is why UV and visible region has got an capability to bring about a chemical change. Now have a look at the pictorial representation of a photochemical reaction, how it happens. So when a UV or visible light, it is being uh, interacts with the molecule, say organic molecule or any other molecule, you know that energy is in the form of discrete bundle of energy, we call them as photon. So the molecule which is in the ground state, now it absorbs photon and gets excited, and excited molecule can result in the formation of the product. So this is the pictorial representation of photochemical reaction. So what are the steps involved? Absorption of light, excitation of the molecule, and then excited molecule may lead to the formation of the product. And this is the these three steps in particular, from organic molecule to excited state to product, represent a photochemical reaction. Now there is one more possibility, that excited molecule, instead of giving the product, it may result in the formation of some other energy disseminating pathway, like fluorescence and phosphorescence, that we will see later. So how much light or how much how much energy is to be absorbed by the molecule in order to lead to the formation of the product is being quantitatively studied, and is being reflected in the form of the second law of photochemistry, that is referred as the Stark-Einstein law. And the law is also known as second law of photochemistry, or also known as the law of photochemical equivalence. The key word to be kept in mind is equivalence here. We know that equivalence refers to the sign of equality. So here you will notice that the statement is very clear. In a primary photochemical reaction, each molecule of the reacting substance absorbs one quantum of radiation, which leads to the photochemical change. Now here the words to be kept in mind is primary photochemical reaction. Now going back, you will notice that the first step involves the absorption of light. The absorption of light and leading to the excited state, this is a primary photochemical reaction. And then the excited state giving the product, or excited state giving following some other pathway, refers to the secondary step in a photochemical reaction. So the second law of the photochemistry is limited to what? It is limited to the primary photochemical step or the primary photochemical reaction. So what this law tells us, that there is an equivalent relationship between the molecule and the number of photon or the quantum absorbed. So each molecule one quantum means what? One molecule will absorb one quantum of energy or one photon of energy. This law can also be stated in other way. What is that statement? Every atom or molecule that takes part in a photochemical reaction absorb, here sorry, D should not be here, ED should not be there, absorb one quantum of radiation through which the substance is exposed. It means that if A is a reactant molecule, one molecule of reactant will absorb one quantum of energy, and according to the Planck's quantum of theory, one quantum of energy corresponds to h nu. Nu refers to the frequency of radiation. So A leads to the formation of A star. A star means the molecule of A in the excited state. So what is the rule? One molecule is equal to one quantum, means for excitation of one molecule we need one quantum of energy or one photon of energy. This is the simple example. Now if we try to understand it in mathematical way, we can elaborate this Stark-Einstein law in the way like this. Suppose nu is the frequency of the radiation absorbed. The energy E of the photon or the quantum absorbed per molecule. Make sure that you are writing the molecule as a whole. Do not use the acronym MOLE for mole. There is nothing like MOLE. You should always write MOLE CULE. So what will be the corresponding energy? Energy of the photon would be E is equal to h nu, or E is equal to hc by lambda, as nu is equal to c by lambda. And but in according to the mole concept, we do not measure molecule, we measure mole. What is mole? Mole is MOL, not MOLE. Mole is what? Mole means that amount of the substance that contains Avogadro's number of molecule. Say, so 1 mole is equal to Avogadro's number, means represented by N0, and it is 6.023 into 10 to the power 23 molecules. So 6.023 into 10 to the power 23 molecule refers to one mole of a particular substance. So what the energy is to be converted from photon to quanta into Einstein. So E prime is the symbol for energy of an Einstein. What is E prime? E prime is the energy of one Einstein. What is E prime? E prime means you have to multiply this h nu by n0. So E prime is equal to n0 h nu. And you can rearrange this equation, rewrite this equation in the form of wavelength also and wave number also. If you in terms of wavelength, the equation becomes E prime is equal to n0 hc by lambda. And if you write it in terms of wave number, 1 upon lambda is nu bar or wave number. So you can write E prime is equal to n0 hc, 1 upon lambda will become nu bar. So n0 hc nu bar will be the equation in terms of energy of one Einstein in terms of wave number. So what we have studied so far, so for one molecule, one quantum of energy is required. So we can rewrite this law in terms of mole and the Einstein. Instead of molecule and the photon, we will write it in terms of mole and Einstein. So in a primary photochemical reaction, each mole of the reacting substance absorb one Einstein of radiation, which leads to the photochemical change. So what are the things to be kept in mind? What are the things to be kept in mind? One molecule is equal to one quantum and one mole is equal to one Einstein. So with these, I will take your leave today. In the next lecture, we will talk about yet interesting topic of the photochemistry, and that is called as quantum yield, the concept of quantum yield. So with these, I will stop here. Thank you everyone. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you.